On this edition of Lexington Now, curbing gun violence, Bespoken Spirits, and the 2050 Transportation Plan. I'm Neil Noah. Welcome to Lexington Now for the week of April 1st, 2024. Lexington is taking applications for nonprofits interested in applying for the city's One Lexington Violence Prevention Grants through April 5th. The announcement was made at a press event at City Hall.
So One Lexington is making progress in helping reduce violence among our young people. In 2022, Lexington had 44 homicides, compared to 24 last year. For the first time in 5 years, Lexington had fewer than 100 shootings in 2023, just last year. The One Lexington team works very hard each day and every day to uplift our young people and keep them safe. We realize that the work to make our community safer is not something the city can do alone. We rely heavily on our community partners. One Lexington is once again accepting applications for its gun violence prevention grant program. The grant program provides community partners with funding and resources to help prevent gun violence in our community.
Government changes every few years, but the community is always the same. And so how can we get them to uplift and stand up? A lot of the communities that we go to, people have lived there 30, 40 years, so they're invested. And so how can we encourage them to be a part of this fight? And so this grant opportunity is open to all nonprofits and even those grassroots organizations who might not have their 501c3, they can utilize a fiscal sponsor. So they can partner with a bigger nonprofit and they can apply for this grant. We are looking for 3 tiers. Tier 1 is we want messaging and programming, or messaging and events. Messaging is super important when addressing gun violence. Evil operates with impunity, and we can't let it go unchecked. So we have to talk about peace. We have to talk about addressing gun violence. We can't hide from it. And so events and messaging is super important. The second tier focuses more on programming. I know last year, and I've been in Lexington my whole life, I saw the most amount of youth programming we've seen in a long time. And I think a lot of that came from not only our grant opportunity, but other opportunities in the city. And so if you have an innovative programming that you think could be a preventative measure to keep young people from being in that cycle of violence, we want you to take advantage of this opportunity. And then obviously the third tier is incorporating both a robust program, but also events coupled with messaging, whether that's using mass media, whether it's using hip hop and music, whether it's using art. We just want to keep this narrative of peace and togetherness going.
Some of the types of organizations that we work with, some are sports organizations that work with kids in high-risk areas. Some, they deal with grief and healing. A lot of times our kids deal with a lot. They don't really know how to express themselves, so that mental health aspect, we work with organizations that do that. And we also work with organizations who give opportunities to those that may fallen on tough times. We had one organization tell us about the program that they had, and a young lady who had a daughter was living in an abandoned church. And through their program, they were able to get her temporary housing, able to work on getting her a full-time job. Now she's working toward getting permanent housing for her and her daughter. So this is what the grants are able to do. It's able to reach those that may not have the spotlight on them, but we can get resources and services to them. So we're grateful for the opportunity to be in a place here in the mayor's office, and grateful for her backing and her support that she gives us so that we can make sure those in underserved areas are being are receiving resources that they would need so that they can thrive in their lives. So
Applications should focus on messaging or community events, gun violence reduction programming, or be comprehensive projects addressing these initiatives. And I encourage, as both the previous speakers said, I encourage you to apply if you think you have a program or something to offer these youth. As I have said many times before, what we do in government is totally people-focused. We're about people, about lifting up people and providing services for people. And all of that makes us a better, healthier, stronger community.
Bespoken Spirits brings new technology to the world of spirit making in the heart of the Bourbon Trail. One of the signature spirits made there also has ties to rock legends Lynyrd Skynyrd. This past week, the mayor joined them to cut the ribbon on their new facility at Gray Line Station.
Welcome to the grand opening of Bespoken Spirits. 13 months ago, this man invited that man to come meet me and the mayor of Lexington. And we went to the mayor's office and she was so graceful and helpful. And 13 young months later, I said it would take 9. I have in my hand the very first bottle produced in Kentucky of Hell House whiskey.
We are thrilled that you are here. And you know, we were talking about Sweet Home Alabama. We all love that song, right? Yep. We might have to start saying Sweet Home Kentucky, right? For Bespoken Spirits. And we are thrilled that you are in your new home here in Lexington, Kentucky. You bring great jobs, you bring sustainability, you bring technology to shake things up a little bit in the bourbon capital, right? So Lexington is a perfect fit for Bespoken Spirits. And that was really clear to me the first day we chatted about this possibility. A friendly group of people wanted to relocate. And I do want to thank and mention my Chief Development Officer, Kevin Adkins, who was with us the entire time we talked. And agriculture technology is something we have a high focus on right now, and we consider this in that group of businesses. So you've arrived at the perfect time of the year. Keeneland starts in April, right? Horse racing. We'll have the Derby in May, and lots of mint juleps and bourbon things going on. So Bespoken Spirits is really a perfect fit for us, and we're thrilled that you're here.
Hi, my name is TJ Rogers. I am currently from California, have been since 1970. I am exactly the prototype Silicon Valley guy that you would think I am. My technical career is I'm a transistor physicist. I design atoms in wafers in order to turn them into transistors. And then a technical person in Silicon Valley came up and had an idea how you could age bourbon. That is, go from white dog to aged spirit. You cannot tell the difference from real bourbon 4 days. I'm going 4 days. I'm thinking about warehouses disappearing and costs getting better, 30 times less wood, and we started the company. Then the company, we were getting explained to by a Burlingame, California official why it would take a quarter for them to review our desire to have a building and start working on this stuff because we were very complicated. That's when I said, I have been here in Lexington for 20 years. Part of Cypress, my chip company, was here. And I knew it was good working here, and I know it's Bourbon Trail, so we came down and talked around. The mayor came up to me the first time I met her, and she said, well, I'd like to let you know that we've had a little bit of delay in the past getting things done, but now we put all of our bureaucracy in one building, and we have a very efficient way of getting things done here. And I passed out. I just right on the floor. I was gone. Goodbye, California, and hello, Kentucky. Thank you.
Folks, I just want to say thank you. The community has been amazing to us. They have taken such good care of us. Mayor, thank you. You have been amazing. Your team, everybody has taken great care of us. We are so excited to be here in Lexington. I am so excited. I'm thrilled. This has been a dream of mine to bring a company to Kentucky, the bourbon capital of the world, and this disruptive, awesome technology that we have to share with everybody in Kentucky. I'm looking forward to fantastic things in the future. And again, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody for everything that you've done for us. And I'm looking forward to an amazing future with everybody here in Lexington, Kentucky.
The future of transportation is being shaped and you can help. We'll tell you how after this.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Chris Van Brackle with the Lexington Police Department Traffic Unit. Today we are talking about disability accessible parking and the aisles between those parking places. Accessible parking is a valuable and necessary resource for people with disabilities, and that includes the striped area next to accessible parking spots. These are access aisles, and it is illegal to park here, even if you have an accessible parking permit. Police and Lex Park will write tickets when they see vehicles parked in an access aisle or parked in an accessible space without a placard, and the fine is $250. Know where and where not to park. Keep the access aisles clear. Thank you, and drive safe.
Welcome back to Lexington Now. The 2050 Transportation Plan is coming together, and the Lexington Area Metropolitan Planning Organizations wants your feedback. Christopher Avila tells us how.
We are representing the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is a federal program for transportation planning covering Fayette and Jessamine counties. And our reason for existence is to make sure that we have local input into decision-making involving federal highway and public transportation dollars. What we're talking about today is one of our long-range planning documents called the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. It's required to look out 25 years into the future and identify what our regional needs are during that period of time and how our region intends to use federal highway and public transportation dollars to address some of those needs. Now, the other thing that this plan is intended to do is look at the entire transportation system, identify how folks would be getting from point A to point B during that time, and how to make sure that folks can do that safely and in a reasonable amount of time. So we have a draft of that document on our website, www.lexareampo.org, and we're asking folks to take a look at that document and give us some feedback. Did we hit the mark? Are there things missing that need to be included in there? Are there projects that perhaps are a lesser priority than what have been identified? Now, the one challenge we have here is that that document is a fiscally constrained document, so we have to be able to realistically afford what's being proposed. So that's one of the challenges that we have to identify as well. We do have public listening sessions that you can find by going to our website, but we are accepting comments through April 15th. And the policy committee, who governs the MPO, mostly elected officials, will be making decisions on adopting that plan on April 24th. These are come and go sessions. We'll have information about the plan and what's being recommended at those sessions. Folks can come and go at their convenience, and we will have staff there to be able to answer any questions. But we also have opportunities for folks to provide comments on the draft plan there as well. We do have to be realistic in what's being proposed, and most importantly, what we can actually afford. And we do have a financial forecast that we perform to kind of estimate how much in federal dollars, but also state and local resources to be able to move some of these priorities forward. There have been a lot of highway-focused projects in the past, but we're kind of transitioning more towards other modes of transportation, especially modes that are cleaner, help us with our air pollution and climate change goals, certainly greenhouse gas emissions, trying to get to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. We've also heard a lot of folks saying we would like more access to high-quality public transportation services. Also, for the folks who are dependent on that transit system, would like to see additional investment in public transportation. So we do have certain recommendations to be able to provide additional services, to reduce the travel times, to also improve the frequency of transit services, and also to improve the wheel service, which we've heard a lot of input about as well. We're also focusing a lot on safety. So we've adopted a Vision Zero goal to eliminate fatal and serious injury crashes by 2050. And so the projects that are most beneficial in helping us get to that point are the projects that are kind of bubbling to the top in our priority list. Now, we're also looking at a lot of bike ped projects and trying to make every street within Lexington what we call a complete street. And basically making sure that all potential users of the system are able to use that system safely and comfortably.
Lewis and Harriet Hayden were icons in the Underground Railroad, and they are being memorialized with an art installation in the East End. Here's a look at their incredible life and legacy.
One of the things that has surprised me about Lewis Hayden, on October the 1st, 1844, his owner said that he knew Lewis had escaped, but he didn't know where he was. He hadn't heard from him. Lewis responded to him on October the 27th. He hired a secretary to send a letter back to Thomas Grant and Lewis Baxter, his owners, and said, "By now, you have discovered my absence, and I'm going to tell you why and where." And he proceeded to do that. He also talked to Harriet Beecher Stowe and gave her his life story, written in a key to Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's all there. It's documented. We're not making it up. He also wrote a letter back to Sidney Howard Gay, who was a newspaper editor, National Anti-Slavery Standard. Henry Clay was campaigning, and he made the comment that he was a friend to the slave. Lewis Hayden, oh no. Lewis Hayden says in 1847, still a fugitive slave, that I hope you're never a friend of Henry Clay and fall into his hands as a slave. And this is why. He gives details. He talks about his first wife and child having been bought by Clay and then sold by Clay. He gave details about where his wife had been enslaved on Thomas Clay's farm, Henry Clay's son, with the Mentill family across the street, the French couple, and then back to Henry Clay, where she gave birth, lost her child. Henry Clay sold her 3 weeks later. And Hayden says, he asked politely, "Why did you do this?" "I bought them and I sold them," was the response. How could this man, enslaved, that most people want to believe enslaved people are dumb, stupid, and ignorant, this does not speak of a person who is not capable of reasoning, not capable of passion, not capable of love. And most enslaved people had those traits. This is why I think Lewis and Harriet Hayden's story is going to resonate and spread throughout our city, our state, and the nation, because it gives us a more balanced picture of individuals who were having to deal with adverse conditions, cruel, inhuman treatment, but yet, through love, through compassion, through humanity, they saw fit and willing and wanting to help others. The Haydens helped 100 fugitive slaves before the Civil War. That's a lot of people through your house. And there are records of those enslaved families. The Vigilance Committee had a secretary, Mr. Jackson. He kept detailed records. A lot of this is online. You just have to go look. And as we continue to share his story, you'll see more of that on our website. And if you will go to the website, Ms. Tesmer has been our web manager. She's done a fabulous job posting information, so please look at it frequently and learn. There's several videos on there, but she's also provided some of the history. Lewis and Harriet Hayden's time has come.
Council is still on spring break, but we do have some live meeting coverage this week here and streaming on our website. And remember, you can find the most accurate and up-to-date information on all city business at lexingtonky.gov. Here's this week's meeting coverage. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media. Check out the latest traffic updates on X at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.